Hello, Steve89. Well, this is my second attempt at this video. I wanted to do a review of all the episodes of Kim's Convenience, because there's only 13, but I've just decided to just highlight the ones I like and just the parts of the series I liked, because really, if you're going to watch the show, you don't want to know what's already going to happen, so, and some people do that. They do watch reviews that tell them everything that happens in a show before they see it. I hate that. I don't want to be a part of that. So I'm just going to talk about the moments and the parts that work for me in the various episodes. But I have just discovered this show, and I'm a huge sort of TV fan. I studied cinema and media. I wanted to work in film, and I very much compensate with fictional sitcom families because I don't really have my own family. So yes, that's tragic, but and especially during the pandemic, I've been going back to a lot of shows I used to watch when I was younger and that I have sentimental attachment to, and remind me of earlier times and that. And this is a new show, so it's been a while since I've had a new show to really love and appreciate. And I just found this show because I saw the Shang-Chi preview, and I kind of thought the actor playing, the part, Simu, was kind of hot, so I sort of thought I should see what else he's done. And then I realised, oh, he was in that show, Kim's Convenience, that got cancelled. Suddenly the actors didn't know about. Oh, that was that guy. And then I started looking into it, and then I eventually was like, I think I'm going to watch that show. I watched a couple of clips, and it looked really good. And I didn't, initially I just wanted to check out Simu because I think he's hot. But I really fell in love with Upper. The character played by, I'm going to say his name wrong, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. He's so great as Upper. And I mean, Jin Yoon as Uma is amazing as well, but Paul's just so good. Now, he's gone on to be in the Mandalorian, so, he's sort of becoming, his talents, obviously, he's a very talented man. He's doing really well now. And Simu's going on to being a Marvel star. And I'm just really enjoying the show, and it's a pretty talented cast. The other actress in it, Andrea Bang, she's very sweet, and she plays very well in the scenes with Appa when he's just messing with her, and they're always trying to win, and they're always fighting and arguing, and the way he plays it out is just hilarious. And I find myself having to cover my mouth because I'm laughing so loud. I don't want to annoy, disrupt my neighbours because I'm watching stuff usually late at night. Now, the first episode is called Gay Discount. Now, I'd seen this scene. It's one of the first things I saw of the show. There's a scene where these two gay guys walk into the store, and they want to put up, one's like a nervous sort of white guy, and the other one's a sort of militant sort of black guy. And they want to put up a poster, because it's Pride Month, and they want to put up a poster for a show they're doing for Pride Month. And Upper looks at it, and he's like, no, bad poster. And of course the black guy goes, are you racist, Mr. Kim? Because, he knows how to play the gay card and the race card and everything. So, and Mr. Kim, of course, freaks out, and he's trying to pronounce homophobic, and he says it 3 different ways, and they're all hilarious. And he ends up saying, how can I be homophobic when I have a gay discount? So he offers this guy a discount, and kind of saves himself. And that's sort of a running gag through the show, because people that come in wanting the gay discount, and he's sort of saying who gets a gay discount and who doesn't. Because Uma is trying to find a cool Christian Korean boyfriend for Janet, and she puts out a fake job position wanted ad to bring in young guys, and there's these 2 guys, and he offers one of them the gay discount because he's like, oh, I'm not gay. He's like, sometimes gay take time. And I'm like, oh no. And the other guy's just looking at him, and then the other guy ends up going on a date with Janet, but he was kind of cute too. But so that was so funny, because I'd seen that first scene and some of the scenes, and I didn't realize that was the first episode, because I'm like, oh wow, the first episode is they're dealing with gay issues. I'm like, this is awesome. And there's a very nice scene for Drag Queen who is shopping, and he's just asking her questions, and she can see he's just curious and respects, just doesn't know much about it, just asking questions, and she becomes a regular shopper and gets the discount. It's just really nice. It's just a really beautiful show that focuses on diversity and focuses on individuality, and really focuses on showing that people, are people. People are individual, that it's only when you look at people as groups that you can discriminate against them. When you see them as other and just like a part of some sort of out there sort of anonymous sort of group of people, when you see people as individuals, that's when you really see who they are and realize that we are all the same. And that's part of the beauty of the show, and that it does this really well, because it doesn't do it in this militant Kathleen Kennedy sort of way, if you know what I mean. And it's just really beautiful. Now the second episode, Janet's photos. What was a good part about that? Jung tries to go for a promotion, and of course his friend, is it Jin Lee? No, oh god, what's his name? I can never remember this guy's name, and I can't even see him now. Where is he? Kimchi. Why can't I remember that name? I keep screwing it up. Kimchi. Kimchi is like, he doesn't want his friend to be his boss. His friend he got the job to then rise above him as a manager and be the boss, but that's what happens. And of course they have their little conflicts. And there's a whole sub-story about Janet's photos, and that's funny as well, but I'm not going to go into that. I want to go straight to the next episode, the third episode, Dong Chim. This is really disturbing. Apparently this is a thing. Apparently there is a Korean wedgie. Basically, you put your fingers together like a gun and you poke someone in the butt when they're bent over. Now, I found this really shocking. That's just violation. That's penetration. That's wedgie. Like a wedgie is like a different thing. You pull someone's underwear up and it's very uncomfortable and painful, but you don't penetrate. I found it really disturbing, and to see the actor trying to explain that, this is just something Asian kids do. I do this to my friend all the time. He's trying to explain to his white boss, and she's the audience of the white people, I guess, going like, what is this? It's just awkward, hilarious, disturbing. And now I'm going to go to the next episode. Episode 4, Frank and Nayoung. Now what's the part of this that was good? Oh, that's right. The boss is thirsty. The manager is thirsty for Jung, and he's kind of aware of it, but he's kind of avoiding it and she's really awkward. She's not hot about it. She's kind of cougarish about it, even though she's young. She's really thirsty, and she says to him, "Oh, blah blah, you're doing so well. Here, have these Raptor tickets." And I think the Raptors are a basketball team. I don't know. I'm very gay. I don't know sports ball. And he's like, yeah, he goes to give Kimchi, I remember his name, Kimchi, these are new characters. I'm having trouble remembering the names of the actors and that. I've only had a couple of days with them. And so he invites him, and then he finds out, I'm going with her. That's like a date. Oh God. So he runs, and they end up giving the ticket to this other white guy who works there, Travis, who's just this nerdy, awkward, butt of the joke guy who just gets it all season. So it's kind of funny to see him running and being afraid of her, because she's sort of not aggressively, but just really consistently just after him. She's thirsty. Wingman. Now there's this character, Mr. Chin. I don't really like him. He's kind of funny. He's had a few good moments in the show, but it's very much focusing on the parents, because he asks Mr. Kim to be his wingman because he's trying to go on a date with this Russian lady he likes, and then Mrs. Kim invites herself. And it's very awkward, and there's some good moments, including some karaoke in that. But yeah, I'm more interested in the Jung stories, and specifically just Mr. Kim on his own. So I'll just sort of skip past Wingman and go to episode 6, Rude Kid. Oh my God, there are real people like this. There is a woman who comes into the store, and she's teaching her child how to exist with not hearing the word no and having no boundaries, because she doesn't think children should have boundaries. That's abuse. And there are real people who believe this. It's an actual parenting style. And this kid's just running around, jumping on bags of chips and just destroying the store. And she's like, don't give my child boundaries. Don't say no to my child. How dare you? That's abuse. And Upper actually flicks him in the forehead, and she's like, oh, "You're abusing my child," and she runs out basically. And he's like, "Stupid woman, like, you know, give your child boundaries, you know." And of course he's, you know, right, and the voice of reason. And unfortunately, this is Janet's teacher. So, but this helps Janet because she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize you had such an abusive father. Now I see your work so differently. You're channeling it through your pain and everything." So she basically gives her better marks, and she doesn't put her in a place and say, "My dad is not abusive. What are you talking about?" And it's really heartbreaking when Appa finds out that she went along with this, and he's like, "Am I a bad father? Do you think I've abused you? You know, like, is this how you see me?" It's a bit upsetting. He plays it really well. She eventually puts the teacher in her place, and they put her in her, for being ridiculous, they just, you know, put her in place, and she leaves, and good riddance. But there are a few moments there, like that was really touching, where he was like, you know, how do you see your parents, you know, respecting your parents, like the fact that she cared more about getting a good mark than, like, you know, letting the sit you think her father was abusive, you know. And the next one, have Keto, which is basically martial arts. Janet takes a class. Upper thinks that the teacher isn't doing a good job, so he goes in, and there's a lot of physical comedy there, and that's some good scenes. But what was more interesting to me was Jung's ex Grace comes to town, and she just stumbles into the car rental store he works, and thinks she does. Basically, the mothers are trying to get them back together, because Jung's story was basically, I just realised this from reading, I didn't get this from the show, I knew some of it, basically they don't really explain at the start of the show, they don't set anything up, it's just, you just put into the store, and I don't know if there was stuff that was in the play, they're just assuming everyone knew from the play, or if the characters were already established in the play, because I don't know, I haven't been able to find out anything about the details of the play. But basically, Jung was a bad kid, he was just a bad kid, and he basically stole money from the store from his dad, and his dad kicked him out. And I didn't realize that, because I didn't understand why there is this, because they haven't talked for 9 years, and he's talking to his mother, he's talking to his sister, but he won't speak to his father won't speak to him, he doesn't go into the store, and it's kind of sad. You're watching it, you're thinking, these people are really great, why aren't they talking? And I just realized, he stole money from his father. That's such a disrespectful thing. I can understand him just sort of saying, I get now why Upper is that stubborn about it now. I kind of didn't get it until I read that, and I read that after watching the first season, because I didn't get that part, that he stole money from his father, not just stole money, that he was dealing with stolen phones and sort of doing stuff like that, and he got put in juvie, and of course that's a big shame, and that comes into a later episode and all that. But so these two mothers are trying to get June and Grace together, and it's pretty funny, because I've heard rumors about how bad Asian parents can be, that they are so full on, and they have like no boundaries, and just a lot of the jokes, like there's a t-shirt that says you're either a lawyer, a doctor, or a failure. And I have an Asian friend who's very successful, owns a couple of houses, really nice car, very rich, and his parents consider him a failure because he's not a doctor or a lawyer like he was supposed to be. He's a banker, and I'm like, you're joking. They don't really say you're a failure, right? And he's like, yeah, they consider me a failure. And I'm like, wow, okay. They try really hard to get them two together, and there's one scene where they go to like dinner, and the mothers are both sitting at the restaurant, because they've just coordinated the whole thing. They've been plotting behind everything. And they try and get them together. They do end up together, but it doesn't work. They go their separate ways, but it's pretty funny. Now, episode 8, Service. The pastor, it's a female pastor, and the male pastor basically gets free stuff from the store, which Mr. Kim hates, and Mrs. Kim resents it. Then when the female pastor comes, Mr. Kim is making sure to give her free stuff just to stick it to Mrs. Kim, and then this poor pastor is in between, and she ends up working out a thing where she actually takes it from Mr. Kim but then pays Mrs. Kim, and it's kind of funny, but nothing really develops the characters in these episodes. It's just sort of a bit of the pastor's pretty funny, because she's always in the middle and always is not quite sure what to say. And on to the next episode 9, Best Before. Now this is an interesting one, because Upper's trying to prove to Janet, because they're always fighting and they're really funny when they fight. He's always trying to shut her up, and he's always, I wish I could try and show how funny these two are when they're fighting, and that it's just cracks me up so much. Janet objects to selling some expired ravioli, and Upper insists it's best before, and then he gets really sick, and so does she, but she didn't eat it. And eventually they work out that it was something else. But in the meantime, Jung shows up at his mother's church, and he wants to help out because she's very active in the church, and she's got this rivalry, sorry, my mouth's a bit dry, with this other Asian mother who's constantly shaming her about the fact that Jung, is a failure because he works in like a car rental. He's not a doctor and not a lawyer. He didn't finish high school. He was a dropout. He went to juvie. And it's it's not nice seeing her be shamed because she's a wonderful character. She's a loving mother. And this basically is dissing her the whole time. And we do not like this lady. And there's a moment where this lady's daughter, I shouldn't ruin it for someone who might watch this and then watch the series, but he kind of sticks up for himself to a degree, but then he respects his mother because he cares more about her standing in the church and not causing a scene over his pride, basically. And there's some very nice moments between him and his mother, which made me really sad because I'm missing my mother quite a bit during the pandemic. She died a couple of years ago, and I could really use her at the moment, and it's just really sweet, the scenes between them. It was really touching. And yep, I'm going to move on to the next one so I don't get emotional. Janet's new job. Basically, Janet gets sick of working for nothing and not being treated with no respect, being treated like a child. She takes a stand, and Upper eventually, after a lot of stubborn theatrics, which is just hilarious, he eventually basically says, look, work, we'll pay you. She's like, I want coffee breaks. He's like, okay, here's coffee. She's like, no, I want to go out and go get coffee and come back. So she gets her way. She gets some ground. And it's pretty good. God, for a while they hired Gerald, her friend, and he's terrified of Upper because he can be very intimidating because he's very stubborn and very very hard on him. And there are some funny scenes with Gerald, even though I don't like the actor and I don't like the character, but they play off each other fairly well. Now, Handyman, this one was a bit sad. Episode 11. Basically, Kimchi breaks the toilet and Jung is like, fix it. And for some reason, he ends up in the store and he's talking to Upper, and I guess he knows him because he was Jung's friend since they were young, so he sort of knows him. And he offers to fix the toilet. So he goes into Jung's apartment. And I don't think he actually knows at first, or there's some confusion about does he know this is Jung's apartment. So Jung can't go home because he doesn't want to run into his father. He doesn't want to speak to his father. And they're fixing the toilet and they're talking. And while he's in the apartment, because Kimchi is sort of getting the vibe that he wants to stay here because he's hoping Jung will come and they'll accidentally have to talk to each other. And he does snoop in his room and he opens up his computer, and it's kind of sad. He sees a bunch of pictures, screensaver pictures of Jung and his mother and his sister, because that's his family, and it doesn't include his father. And it's only a couple of moments, but you can see his heartbreak. And he accidentally, when he's trying to shut down the computer, he takes a picture of himself, which then ends up on the screensaver along with the other pictures. So when Jung comes home and sees his computer's open, he sees a picture of his dad basically pulling his face because he's trying to close the thing, and he gets what's happened, and he's snooping because he cares. He wants to be, he's not happy. He's stubborn, but he's not happy with the relationship they have. Obviously, he's still his dad. He still cares. So it's got some nice moments in it. Now, episode 12. There's only 2 left. Upper's lump. This one was a little bit upsetting. He finds a lump on his back. He has surgery. It's nothing. But, if you've had a parent with cancer, when you see another parent in a TV show with cancer, you can't help but sort of have those parallel sort of thoughts about things and that. And there's a nice moment where, because Janet calls him and says, Dad's in hospital. He's it's serious. And he comes in, and of course, Upper has already had the operation, and he's high the medication, and they have a talk, and it's kind of touching because he says, "Look, you had an appendix when you were young, and I had to stay in hospital for 3 days with you because you wouldn't let go of my hand. That's how much I cared about you, blah, blah, blah." And it's quite touching, but he's high. He's talking about his how great this custard is, the banana custard. And they're talking, then he falls asleep, and Jung goes to leave, and he's holding onto his hand, and it's very sweet. And then the next day he cannot remember talking to him because he was too high. So they had this moment, but they didn't have this moment. Because I sort of thought, oh wow, I thought this was going to be like a series thing. It would take until the end of the series for them to resolve and become close again. And well, it happened in this sort of state, and he doesn't remember. So, yeah. The last episode, family singing contest. Now this made me cry, and I admit I cry easily. I'm a sensitive person. Janet basically signs a lease. She's going to move out with her friends, and Uma's feeling, I guess, a bit empty nest syndrome. So she calls Janet and says, "Look, there's a singing contest at the church. I want you to join me in it. I want to do a family thing again," because they won it like years ago, back when Jung was still part of the family. So she tries to get Jung to come, and he's like, "Hell no. No, Mum, can't say it any easier." And he's really harsh, and you feel really upset for her. I was really like devastated for her, the way he was like, "No," and walked off on her. I'm like, wow, that was hard. Later she gets Janet to help Jung, and he does decide to do it. And they go to the church and everything, and somehow I can't remember, he ends up at the church, and he's standing behind the stage looking through the door. And I'd seen this part, and I knew that he watched the show, and I thought, okay, he wants to be part of the family, he wants to be up there singing with his family, but, he's too stubborn, he can't sort of back down. But then while they're singing, he joins in and starts to sing as well, and they hear him, and they know he's there, and he wants to be there, but he's not there, and he's pretending like he's not there, and it's so stupid because, like, they know he's there, and he's pretending like it didn't happen later and all that. But they sing, and it's a bit emotional, and it's really nice. And I think they won. Did they win? I can't even remember. I was probably like looking for a tissue. And that's kind of the end of the season, where you sort of see, the series is about this family that, they're eventually going to come back together. They're being stubborn, and there is a moment actually when I have watched the first episode of the second season, and that's in that I nearly jumped into the second season, but that's it. And I was hoping to do this a lot shorter, and I didn't. I kind of thought if I don't, because the first time I did this video, I went through every episode, and I'm like, no, just focus on the good ones, talk about the moments, because you're sort of going through bits that aren't that interesting. But yeah, 22 minutes, I'm sorry. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have you seen the first season? Did you love it as much as me? It ran 2016. It started, I think, in October 2016, and it ran through to December 27th, so just after Christmas. Oh, they showed the last 2 episodes on the 27th, so okay. Now, when you've got 13 episodes of a show, you'd think you'd stretch them out and not like put 2 on the same night. That's a bit... But I guess they got a family hour. And the show rated fairly well in Canada. It got between 0.7 and 0.9 fairly consistently over its 12-week run. And it's just really great. I love it. I can't wait to watch the second season. I've watched a couple of episodes. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try not to watch the whole thing in one go, because at the moment I don't have the 3rd season. I've just got season 1 and 2 access to that, and I've got 5th season. So I don't know how I'm going to see season 3 and 4. And I'm upset about that because I want to go straight into them. I don't want to skip to 5. But because I'm only discovering these people after the show's been cancelled, I don't get to spend years with them like when you live with a show. You sort of see them each week, each year. They sort of grow on you. It's like living with people in your life. They're like part of your life. They're like extended family. But this show, I'm seeing it all at once. So I'm kind of glad in a way that I've got a couple of seasons that I probably won't get to see for a while. So I've got something to look forward to, because, the show's over. There's no more show. But I'm still talking. It's 24 minutes now. This video is pretty much as long as the other one. It was 25 minutes long, and I said I can do it shorter than that if I just focus on the good parts. Failure. You're a failure. I'm going to go.